So, good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this particular session, we will be talking about our Indian Express newspaper of the day. We will talk about 3-4 important articles that starts with repos and the adjournment. So, basically here you can say Election Commission of India has certain power whenever there is some kind of discrepancy which is happening during the election process, let's say booth capturing or anything natural hazard kind of thing. So, in that particular cases there are certain actions which Election Commission of India can take. So, we will talk about those actions, or we will talk about if there is a incident because of which it requires to go for repolls. So, we will see what is the authority behind it, what is the statutory sanctions behind it. So, we will talk about all those repolls possibility and the adjournment possibility. Okay, then Chuckysaurus necule. So basically this is one fossil, or you can say species whose fossil has been found. We will talk about that as well. It belongs to the dinosaurs. Okay, then Hangur class submarine. This submarine has been inducted in Pakistan, but this submarine as per se, or the feature of this submarine are not as important. Only thing is, remember the name, this Hangur, which is commissioned in Pakistan with the help of China. We will talk about the similar counterpart which India has. Okay, so in this particular article, we'll talk about Hangur class, but you don't have to remember its specification. We will talk about another class of submarine which is found built in India. We'll talk about that. Then lightning related deaths. So when we are talking about disasters, etc., lightning is one of them. When we are talking about its deaths related to it, or the casualties related to it, mostly we'll say Bihar is the prominent state wherein you see maximum number of casualties, etc., in India. And there are other states like you can say MP, UP, they also see some kind of lightnings. We will talk about what is lightning, how it happens, and what are the, you can say, important area which you can remember from your exam point of view with respect to the lightning. Okay, then around the world we will see one or two news, then there will be one article for your own read, and then we will move to the last part, that is your practice question. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now we can start our discussion with the practice question which was given to you in the last lecture. Okay, now here you can say the term PHI3 has been seen in the news recently. It is you have to choose one of the, or you can say most appropriate answer out of it. A programming language, a type of computer processor, a small language model developed by Microsoft, and last is a mathematical theorem. So basically here PHI was your small language module which has been generated by Microsoft, and this is basically your AI tool. Okay, so option C would be your right answer. Okay, now we can move further and start with the first article of the day. Okay, so let's see the repolls and adjournments. ECI's options when polling process is disrupted. There are certain you can say parameters on which we can say that the polling process has been disrupted. Let's say there is a natural hazard. Let's say some candidate dies because of certain incident that happens, or if there is something like that, people are not able to turn out, if EVM is not working finely. So in all such cases, there are certain provisions which the presiding officer of that particular pool has to tell to the returning officer of the district, and then that particular officer will communicate it to ECI. So we will talk about all these things. We will see what was the recent incident that has happened. So here you can say Election Commission of India declared April 19th voting void in 11 polling stations in Manipur, 8 polling stations in Arunachal Pradesh, and repolls were conducted on April 22nd and 24th respectively. So there were polls on 19th of April, but they were considered void, and then the repolls has happened on 22nd and 24th respectively. The death of a candidate on 9th April, polls were adjourned in Madhya Pradesh, Betul Lok Sabha constituency, and voting now will take place on the May 7th. Okay, instead of April 26th. So there was this person who was the candidate, he died, and because of which they have actually adjourned the election over there, and they have rescheduled it some other day. Okay, so we will see what are the statutory norms or provisions or rules regarding such incidents which are happening. Then India's election law provide a framework for handling situations with normal polling process is if the normal polling process is disrupted. Okay, now destruction, hijacking of EVM. Now there is section 58. You don't have to remember all these sections, but remember that what is the statutory section behind it, that is basically your Representation of People Act 1951. There are two acts. One is your RPA 1950, then there is RPA 1951. when we are talking about this RPA 1950, mostly the provision, generally speaking, I'm not, there can be exceptions, but mostly you can say whatever is there related to the preparation of the elections, or the before the elections are happening, all those provisions are kept under 1950, and all those provisions which are related to the conduct of the elections, that are basically kept in 1951. Okay, so that is a general classification, but there can be some exceptions. So please, if there is something, you can remember that. Okay. Now, Election Commission of India can declare the vote at polling station void if there are three conditions which are given. If an unauthorized person has unlawfully taken away the EVM, someone has taken the EVM and he has left. Okay, so that is one thing, and that person should be unauthorized. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is, any EVM has been accidentally or intentionally destroyed, lost or damaged or the tampered. Okay, if someone has done any kind of tampering with the EVM, destroyed it, or someone has taken it, so that is the another case. Third is, a machine failure develops in any EVM during the recording of votes. Okay, so if there is a mechanical failure, any kind of disruption which is happening related to EVM, here you can say all these three you can say elements are related to your EVMs only. Okay, unauthorized person is taking away the EVM. Second is wherein there is, because of the accidentally or intentionally, someone has destroyed, lost, or any kind of damage has been inculcated to the EVM. Then mechanical failure of the EVM during the process. In three conditions, returning officer immediately informs the Election Commission of India and the Chief Electoral Officer of the state about the relevant fact, and afterward ECI can declare the poll void and formally fix a date for the new poll. Okay, so in such incidences, what will happen is that ECI will declare the polls void, and then new polls will be happening on the date which is declared by the ECI. So that is one thing which is clear over here. Whenever there will be second poll, let's say one poll, first time poll was there, but meanwhile there was this disruption, and because of which they have declared the poll void. So obviously you know that on whenever you are going for the polling, there is this ink which is used on the index finger of your hand, left hand basically. So that means that you have given the vote. Now if the voting is happening second time at that point of time, or few of the voters has already given the vote by that time it was declared void, then in such cases the left middle finger, this finger will be used as the place wherein you will put the ink. Okay, so that is how you will know that this constituency, there was either void elections or the elections has been happened twice. Okay, then second such disruption is booth capturing. Okay, there is this section 135A of RPA, okay, which sees that there are certain actions which is considered booth capturing, like seizure of polling stations affecting the conduct of the elections. Someone has seized the polling booth itself. Second is taking possession of a polling station, allowing only his or their supporters to vote. Okay, someone is going over there and they have taken the possession of the polling booth, and they are allowing only their supporter to give the vote. So that is another thing which you can say that it is also booth capturing. Intimidating or threatening any elector and preventing them from going to the polling station. Okay, so that is another incident we can say that it is also a booth capturing. Seizure of a counting place affected by the counting of the voting. Okay, now this is after the elections, whenever there is a counting which is happening and you have seized that particular place. Okay, that is also considered booth capturing. Involvement of any person in government service in any of the above activities. Okay, whatever activities these are happening, if there is a government servant who is also involved, then you can say the punishment for that is even more higher. Okay, here you can see booth capturing is punishable for a term of 1 to 3 years for the lay people, and for the public servant who are involved in that is 3 to 5 years. Okay, now section 58A, this is what basically you can say section 135A has defined what is booth capturing. Now 58A says that adjournment of the poll or countermanding of the election on the ground of booth capturing. Adjournment means that you will stay the polls and then you will give another date. Second is countermanding, means that you can either go for the cancellation of the voting process at that point of time. Okay, so presiding officer immediately close the control unit of EVM, detach the ballot unit from the control unit under rule 49X of the conduct of the election. So at that particular point of time, when you realize that booth is being captured, you can go and detach the ballot unit from the control unit. Okay, so that is the responsibility of the presiding officer if he gets the chance. Okay, then he informs the returning officer, and returning officer in turn informs the ECI, Election Commission of India, and then they will declare the poll at the polling station to be void and direct a fresh poll on a new date. Okay. So that is one thing. Second is countermand the election in the constituency in case booth capturing has taken place in the large number of polling stations. If that is happening on the one or two places, then you can go for the adjournment, and then voting can be done on the next date which has been decided. If it is happening on the large number of you can say booth, then you can go for the countermanding, or you can say cancelling of the voting over there, and then later on some further date there can be elections. Okay. Other unforeseen disruptions, there can be other natural hazard like situations, there can be riots, all these things can be happening which are unprecedented, or you can say unexpected. Okay. Natural calamity like food, severe storms, non-receipt or loss or damage of essential polling materials like EVM or electoral rolls. So basically electoral rolls or EVMs has not been reaching the polling station at that point of time. Second is interruption of the obstruction due to any riots or open violence, non-arrival of the polling party due to the obstruction in any way. So these are certain things which you can say that these are unexpected incidences which can happen, that is related, you can say lead to the disruption in the polling activity. So here you can say non-commencement of the poll within the 2 hours of the scheduled time due to the malfunctioning of the EVM. If EVM is not working for the 2 hours, then the after seeking permission from the ECI, a poll will be adjourned and will recommence from the stage where it was left. Okay. So let's say half of the people has given the vote. Okay. So at that particular point of time, those people cannot vote, and afterwards the new electors who has not given the vote, they can continue polling on the date which is decided by the ECI letter. Okay. Now death of a candidate. Now there is this provision, if what happens if a candidate who has filed the nomination who dies. Okay. So here you can say, as per section 52 of RPA amended in 1996, polls shall be adjourned only if the death of the recognized political candidate is happening over there. Now let's say if there is a person who has died, but he is from, or let's say he is individual candidate. Okay. So in that case, this polling will not be adjourned at that. Okay. Now here you can see, a recognized political party refers to either a recognized national party or recognized state party in the state concerned. Okay. So that is basically provision where section 52 says that if that person is from the recognized political party, then such poll can be adjourned. The above provision applies if the candidate with a valid nomination dies at any time after 11 AM on the last day of making nominations. Okay. So that is the thing, is that you have made the nomination and then that person has died. In that case, there will be this particular provision which is there, that you can say they will go for the adjournment of the elections. Okay. Until the commencement of the poll. From the time you have gone for the nomination, like last date of nomination 11 AM, from that particular time till the commencement of the poll, if that person is dying and he is from the recognized political party, then there will be adjournment. Okay. Now returning officer reports the fact to the ECI and orders the adjournment of the poll to a date notified by the commission. Okay. Now political party to nominate another candidate. Now in that particular seats, that political party will field another candidate over there, and that he has to be done within the 7 days. Okay. So that is there. In Betul, the candidates that occur 1 day after the last day of withdrawing the candidature. Okay. So here they have said that 11 AM on the last day of nomination, and he has died 1 day after the nomination. Okay. Therefore, polls were adjourned. That is clear, that if polls are happening in a place and you have filed the nomination, or you are actually that person has filed the nomination, and after 11 AM on the last submission of the day of the nominations until the polling is conducting, or the polls has to be conducted, if in that particular time period that person is dying and he is from a recognized political party, then that particular you can say election will be adjourned. Okay. Moradabad Lok Sabha constituency, the candidates suffered death after voting, in which case by election will held in if the candidates in winning. Now what happens if a candidate was there and he was a nominated member in the polls, and then after the completion of the voting that person dies. Okay. So if that person wins the election, then there will be by elections. Okay. Otherwise, there will be the, like, whoever is the winner, he will proceed with the taking charge of the particular, you can say, constituency. Okay. So, that is about the disruptions which can happen and what are the provisions which are related to it. There are 2-3 things. One is related to hijacking of EVMs, any kind of disruption in the EVMs. In that case, there will be a date which will be decided by the commission later, and then the polling process will happen. Then booth capturing, in that case, either then there can be an adjournment, okay, and there can be a cancellation. Okay. So, depending on the intensity of the booth capturing in that particular area. Then unforeseen disruptions which are happening, in such cases also the returning officer will tell the ECI will decide the date later. And then death of a candidate, as I told you, 11 AM, after the 11 AM last day of nomination till the polling is being conducted. In that case, if someone is dying, then the you can say, and he is from the recognized political party, then elections will be adjourned, and then political party will feed another candidate on that particular seat, and then election will happen on the date which is notified by the election commission. If a person is dying after the voting is completed, in that case, if he actually wins the election, then only there will be by elections. Otherwise, there will be no provision for the by elections or the adjournment of the election, etc. Okay, I hope that is clear. Now we can move further with the next article. Now, Argentine scientists find speedy 90 million year old herbivore dino. Okay, so he is a herbivorous dino, or you can say plant eating dinosaurs. Okay, the name is Chachisaurus necul. Okay, so this name has been taken from the local language over here. Okay, I have, for your information, you don't have to go through this particular thing, you can just remember this particular information over here. Here you can see the name derived from the Chaki. That word is from the Eonikank language of the indigenous Tehulche people, which means that old guenco, or you can say a medium sized herbivorous mammal. Okay. So, now they have seen that this was a person, this was a dinosaur species which was herbivorous, and second thing is they are medium sized. Okay. Medium sized herbivorous dinosaurs. Okay. So, that is basically your Chachisaurus necul, and it is, this necul means fast. When we are talking about necul means fast or agile in the Mapudungam language. Okay, so this is been speaking by the local Mapuche people over here. Okay, so these are the two you can say tribes, or you can say people which are living over there. One is Tehulche, that is, and second is Mapuche. Okay, so you can remember these two names. They might ask you somewhere, on a location based question, etc. Okay, otherwise Chachisaurus necul is a medium sized herbivorous, and they are fast running animals. Okay, since because they are herbivorous and they are in an area where are so many predators, they has to be fast. Okay, so that is why this is Chachisaurus necul. Now, this particular species is a fast runner, lived about 90 million years ago in the later Cretaceous period. So, this you can go through the periods, different periods, like what is Paleolithic period, and then when we are talking about this Cenozoic and then Cretaceous period, all these things are given in your NCERT. So, you can go through that, and it is found in the Pueblo Blanco Natural Reserve. Okay. So, this is the area where they were found, and this is the illustration, or you can say scientists have given a picture how it would look like. Okay. So, that is about your Chachisaurus necul. Okay. Now, third is related to your Hangur class submarine. Okay. As I told you, you don't have to remember the specifics, so I have not gone through this particular part over here. When we are talking about Hangur, it is a submarine which has been commissioned in Pakistan recently with the help of China. Okay, and the technology is also been taken from the Chinese submarine. Okay, here you can see the first Hangur class submarine built by China for Pakistan was launched on April 26 at Wuhan shipyard. Okay, so they have launched it in Wuhan shipyard, and then it will be shipped to Pakistan. This was the first of the 8 submarines in this class that Pakistan Navy is set to induct by 2028. Okay, so with the help of China, they are going for the production of these 8 submarines, and then they will be inducted in the Pakistani Navy by 2028. Now, basic characteristics here you can say the Hangur class, an export variant of the Chinese type 039A Yuan class. Okay, again you don't have to remember this name. Okay, 039A Yuan class, you don't have to remember the name, just remember Hangur, which is related to Pakistan, and we will talk about the counterpart of this particular you can say similar submarine which India has. We will talk about that. Okay. So they have given the name, that is PNS, or you can say submarine Hangur. They have given this name on the submarine which was decommissioned after the Bangladesh war, that is PNS Hangur, which basically sank in the Indian Ocean or that particular area in 1971 war. Okay. So that is PNS Hangur, and on the name of that particular submarine they have given the name to this submarine. Okay. So Hangur class, an export variant of the Chinese type 039A Yuan class, is a diesel electric attack submarine named after now decommissioned PNS Hangur, which famously sank the Indian frigate, that is INS Kukri. Sorry, I'm sorry about that. This was the submarine which was responsible for the sinking of INS Kukri. Okay, so this was sank by this particular submarine in 1971 war. Okay, so again, I'm sorry for this particular thing. There was this little bit confusion. Again, I'm telling you, there was this PNS Hangur that was with Pakistan, and that was responsible for the sinking of INS Kukri in 1971, and that is why they have given the name, that is PNS Hangur. And this particular submarine has been decommissioned. Okay, so I am not going into details of this particular submarine. Now compared with the Calvary class, we have a particular submarine, that is Calvary class, or you can say this is a class of submarines. There are nearly 6 to 8 submarines. Okay, I guess 6 submarines are there under project 75. Okay, so this Calvary class can be seen as a counterpart of this particular this Hangur. Pakistan's Hangur class is direct counterpart of India's Calvary class submarine based on the French Scorpion class. So technology which is used in the Calvary class has been taken from the French Scorpions. Okay, earlier these we have taken these Scorpions as a, you can say, from the French or the France, and then now we are building our own as well. India currently operates 6 Calvary submarines, and there are 3 more that will be inducted into service by 2030. Okay, so there are 6 which are already commissioned and 3 new are to be inducted in the service. In terms of size, the Hangur is the significantly bigger than the Calvary class. When we are talking about this INS Hangur, this is bigger than Calvary class, and that is not a good thing, because obviously when we are talking about submarines, these are structures which has to be inside the water. Okay, so if they are heavy, if they are having a larger size, then they can be on the radar, and that will be very difficult for them to stay underwater for a long time. But the thing is, when we are talking about this Hangur, they have this special technology which they have used, and which let them, that is AIP system is there. That AIP system basically let them be inside the water for nearly 15 to 20 days. Okay, so that is one thing which is better when we are talking about Hangur, and the Calvary class is not yet over there. Okay, so when we are talking about the capacity to remain inside the water, this Hangur has the better capacity in that regard. Okay, the bigger size could be disadvantaged in the shallow and littoral waters. The Calvary class, like Hangur class, runs on the diesel electric propulsion, so that is there. In terms of the underwater endurance, as I told you, the Hangur class potentially having an edge on the Calvary class. Okay, so that is about your, you can say, Hangur and Calvary. I have given this specification of Calvary class over here. These are indigenously built 6 diesel electric submarines built under the technology transfer from France Scorpion class. Okay, so remember these 2 facts at Majgaon dock. Okay, now name of the Calvary class submarines which are commissioned are, that is INS Calvary, Khanderi, Karanj, Vela and Vagir. Okay, so these are the 5 which are commissioned under this particular, you can say, Calvary class. There is one more which name is not mentioned over here, but remember all these things. Okay, fine. This 6th is the Vagashir, INS Vagashir. Okay, and it is built under the project 75. So these are the 6 names: INS Calvary, Khanderi, Karanj, Vela, Vagir and Vagshir. These are Calvary class. Please remember that names, because that can be asked in exams. Okay, will be delivered to Indian Navy in 2024. So this Vagshir becomes even more important, because this will be delivered to Navy in 2024. So that can be your current affairs as well. Okay, so that is about the Calvary class. Okay, now can we move further now? Okay, so Bihar saw highest lightning related death in June, July, says IMD. Okay. So, when we are talking about lightning, you know that lightning is a process wherein some electromagnetic charges are interacting with each other. Okay. So, here you can see lightning is a powerful and the visible electrical phenomena that takes place when there is the buildup of electrical charges within the clouds and between clouds and the ground. Okay. So, whenever it is there, you can say when you see in the clouds there is this thundering, that is because of this particular interaction of the charges or the electrical charges. So, if there is a buildup of electrical charges and because of certain activities or the movements in that, there was this thunder activities which are happening. Okay. And because of this particular interaction, there are this lightning activities which we see in the season of monsoon, etc., and that can be within the clouds and that can be within, with the cloud and the ground. Okay, so there can be interaction within the clouds and then that interaction can be between the clouds and the ground. Okay, so whenever this is happening between cloud to ground, in that case there are chances that it will affect the life on the earth as well. Maybe it can cause damage to the property, it can cause damage to the lives of the people, animals, plants, etc. Okay, so that is why lightning sometimes also considered as a disaster. Now, discharge of this electrical energy results in a brilliant flash of light and rapid expansion of air, creating characteristics like thunder. Okay, so that is there which you must have seen. Then cloud to ground lightning is dangerous because it can execute people due to the high electric voltage and current. Okay, that is basic simple. You can say that is electric physics. Okay. Now coming to this particular article, people in Bihar's Shevhar, Banka, Kaimur, Kishanganj district are most vulnerable to lightning. Highest casualty rates per million population per year is seen over here. Recently, you can see that from 2017 to 2022, 1624 people died from the lightning strike and 286 were injured over here. Okay. Then when we are talking about the areas, okay, so here you can say Bihar lies in the Indo-Gangetic plains. Okay, and in these areas there are these incidents are more. Lightning strike claim through thousands of the life each year, and Bihar is among the top 3 most affected states in terms of lightning. That casualties which are happening because of lightning. Then second is MP and third is UP. Okay, Bihar, MP and UP are the area which are most affected from the lightning. Okay, now here you can say the higher impact of lightning strikes in district with the higher population. Obviously, if there is a high population, then obviously the damage will be higher. And here you can say in the northwest Bihar, the lightning strikes are lower, but casualties are higher because strike is lower, but the casualty is higher because the population density is higher over there. Okay, now that is because of it is not urbanized and poor shelter densities over there, and socio-economic factors plays important role in mitigating the impact of such natural hazards. Okay, that is basic thing. Threat potential of lightning strike is not uniform. Topography, elevation and the local meteorological factor determines the spatial distribution of lightning strike. The higher lightning frequency is seen in the eastern region owing to the higher moisture incursion. Higher moisture means that there will be a cloud formation, and if there is a cloud formation, there are high chances that there can be this you can say buildup of electrical charges. Okay, and that is why in the eastern areas wherein you can see the Meghalaya, Manipur, or in the you can say Gangetic plains, etc., here you can see that there is chances of high lightning related activities. Okay. Now, vulnerability mapping can provide a template to change the operational and side of the disaster management, that is related to the disaster management point of view. They are saying that there can be mapping of these areas and based on which they can go for the mitigating activities. Okay. Now, here you can say some geographical distribution if we see of this lightning related phenomena. India ranks among the top 5 countries of the world. Okay, that is you can say having a early warning system as well. Now, when we are talking about the risk in these top 5 countries, that is because we are you can say tropical or subtropical kind of country, and here we have this more rainfall. Okay, and because of which cloud formation is more, and ultimately, and that is the reason there can be these charges which can be built up in the clouds. Now, lightning frequency is highest in the northeastern states, West Bengal, Sikkim, Jharkhand, Odisha, Bihar. Again, they are talking about the frequency of lightning. When we have talked about Bihar, UP and MP, that was the casualties. Okay, Then, however, the number of lightning related deaths is higher in the central states like Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. Bihar is one of the most vulnerable state that related to lightning strikes, with a significant number of deaths reported annually. Okay. So, now remember that there are some areas like you can say Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Odisha. These are the area UP. These are the area where death casualties are high because of the population. Second thing is, when we are talking about the area where lightning frequencies are higher, that is basically your West Bengal, Sikkim, Jharkhand, Odisha and Bihar. Okay, so these are the area you can say northeastern northeastern states of India. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now we can move to the next part, that is from the around the world. Okay, so now again this India-Canada relations are in news because of what is happening. Recently there was this you can say gathering which was addressed by the, or you can say in the presence of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau over there, and what happens is that there was some pro Khalistani you can say slogans which has been can say shouted over there, and it was being accepted by them as a freedom of speech and expression. Okay, again in a few months back there was this issue wherein it was said that India was allegedly somehow has some kind of link with the killing of Hardeep Singh Nijjar. Okay, and that allegation was made by the Prime Minister of Canada on India, and because of which India and Canada's relations got tensed. At that particular point of time, nearly 40 diplomats from India were sent back to Canada. These 40 Canadian diplomats which were commissioned in India, they have been sent back to you can say Canada. It was said that India is going for the proportionate response, and there are only 40 members of you can say Indian delegations which are placed in Canada, so there can other members was sent back to Canada. So that has happened 3-4 months back. But again something like this has happened recently. Here you can say, so India has strongly protested over the pro Khalistani slogans raised during the public event in Toronto in presence of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The government of India's deep concern and the strong protest was conveyed as such disturbing action being allowed to continue unchecked at the event. Okay. Now the illustration this illustrates once again the political space that has been given in Canada to the separatist, extremist and the violence. So basically they are talking about the Khalistani extremists or the separatists over there, and Canada is giving them the space to say all such things, okay, in the name of freedom of speech and expressions. Okay. Now their continued expression not only impact India-Canada relationship, but also encourage a climate of violence and criminality in the Canada which is detrimental to their own citizens. Okay. And as well as our citizens which are living over there. Okay, various you can say diaspora from India which are living in Canada, that is dangerous for them as well. Okay. Now in that particular regard, that Justin Trudeau has said that Sikh values are Canadian values, no doubt, because the population of the diaspora which are living over there, mostly they are Sikh and their economy is based on them. Okay. So again you can say there are certain discourses which are saying that Canada is mini Punjab. Okay. So in that regard he has said that the Sikh values are Canadian values, that is fine, but again you cannot support the separatist element, you cannot support the terrorist extremist elements which are happening over there. Okay. Again the allegation that Delhi was involved in the killing of Sikh separatist Hardeep Singh Nijjar last year also vowed to always protect the rights and the freedom of Sikhs in Canada and defend the community against the hatred and the discrimination. At that point of time this has happened. As I told you, these allegations were made by the Canadian government. Okay, but then India has said that these allegations are absurd and politically motivated. Okay, and this particular allegation has inversely impacted the India-Canada dynamics, and after this this reservation which has been sent to the Canadian side of government, now let's see what happens and what will be their response. So as of now, again we cannot say that India and Canada's relations are cordial as it used to be. Okay. Now coming to the last part, or before that there was this particular news which is related to Blinken to Hamas accept the Israel's extraordinary generous truce plan. Okay. So basically accept Israel's latest and the extraordinary generous proposal for the Gaza truce to secure release of hostages. So Israel has proposed a plan to Hamas, okay, to end the war in that particular area, to go for a ceasefire in that particular area. Now only thing is that ball is in the court of Hamas. Now if they accept it, there are chances that this war will be over. But again you can say this is not been happening. Such proposal has been offered again and again, but that is not acceptable to Hamas. Okay, to end the war, Hamas negotiators were expected to meet Qatari and the Egyptian mediators in the Cairo. Okay, and phased truce proposal Israel presented at the weekend. Okay, now Hamas has before it a proposal that is extraordinarily generous on the part of Israel. The only thing standing between the people of Gaza and the ceasefire is Hamas. Okay, so now if they accept this proposal, there are high chances that this issue, which has been there for like months now, since October 7th till now, and if we look at the past, it has been there for years. So this can be resolved if Hamas are taking this particular proposal. Okay, now this proposal is basically related to the release of hostages and in the exchange of the ceasefire. Okay, now for your own, you can say, read, there is this article, inside a small Taiwan city, a blueprint for India's chip dream. This is given on the page number 1 in the, you can say, bottommost article will be, that is anchor. So that is given over there. We have talked about this small city in Taiwan, that is your Hsinchu. Okay, this is the city which is famous for the manufacturing of semiconductors or chips, which are basically commonly known as, and they have gone for a model, or you can say a cluster based model, wherein they have created a city which is around the manufacturing. Okay, all the manufacturing units are there, and their residential apartments are also built over there. Other than that, you can see that the schools are there, hospitals are there, transportation is good in that particular area. So all the basic facilities which is needed for a person to live in an area, which has been provided within that particular city, and that is to boost the production of semiconductors. Okay, so you can go through this particular, you can say, article, because that can be a case study first. Second thing, it can be a way forward for India as well, because India is trying to go for being a alternative to the China when we are talking about the chip manufacturing. Okay, so such thing or such a cluster based approach can be a solution for India's industry as well. So you can go through this particular article. Okay, now last part, that is your practice question. Where were fossils of Chuckysaurus nacul discovered? Sahara Desert, Amazon rainforest, Pueblo Blanco Natural Reserve, and Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so you have to attempt this question, answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel. Thank you.